Jai Hind everyone, myself Dr. Vandana Sharma from Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. The subject which today I am going to take, that subject is laser systems and its application. Its subject code is BOE 312 in odd semester, and in even semester its code is BOE 412. In the last lecture, I have started concept of coherence. And under that concept of coherence, I have started two different type of coherences. So in my previous lecture, I have discussed about the first type of coherence, which is known as temporal coherence. So before going into a second type of coherence, first I would like to give you an overview that what we have discussed in our previous lecture. So basically, I have started with the concept of coherence there. So when I'm saying coherence of light, it means I'm referring the phase relationship. So if there are two light rays, then those two light rays, they are said to be coherent if there is crust to crust or trough to trough correspondence. So what I'm trying to say here, if there is crust to crust and trough to trough correspondence, and if this correspondence is maintained for a very long time, infinitely long time, then we will say this particular source from where you are getting light, that source is ideally coherent source of light. So that is the meaning of coherence. In other words, you can say that light is said to be coherent if the phase difference, if either the phase difference is zero or that phase difference is constant. So basically coherence, when we are saying coherence, we are referring to the phase relationship. And we will describe this phase relationship using these two different aspects. So there are two different ways of observing this phase difference. One is known as temporal coherence, which is actually related to time. And the second type of coherence, which today I am going to discuss, that coherence is related to distance. So this temporal coherence, that is coherence in time, whereas spatial coherence, that is termed as coherence in space. That is the broader difference between temporal and spatial coherence. In my previous lecture, I have already discussed about this temporal coherence. So when we are saying temporal coherence, then we are referring the coherence in time, as I have already mentioned here. So you can see that these light rays, since there is crust to crust and trough to trough correspondence, so these light rays are coherent. Whereas in these light rays, you can see that there is no fixed phase relationship. So these light rays are incoherent. We have already seen this in our previous lecture. The next point, which I have already discussed, that if we have two independent sources, then we can never get coherent light, because the initial phase of each and every source, that is totally independent of each other. Means if there is any change in the phase of one source, you cannot maintain the similar type of changes for the other source. So if you have two independent, even similar type of sources, light emitted from those sources can never be coherent in nature. So if you want to get coherent light, then the simple method is just divide a single source into two parts. So when you will divide a single source in two parts, then the light rays emitted from those two sources will be coherent, because those light rays are actually generated from same source. So if there is any change in the phase of parent source, you will get the similar type of changes in those sources which are obtained from that single source. So from a single source, you can get coherent sources, two different coherent sources. So that is a method to get coherent light from a single source. So actually, I have already discussed that there are two methods to obtain coherent sources from a single source. The first one, which you already know, that is division of wavefront. Young's double slit experiment, that is actually an example of division of wavefront. We are using a single light source. You can divide the wavefront of that light source and you can get two coherent sources from a single source. Fresnel biprism experiment, Lloyd's mirror method, all these are the examples of division of wavefront. And the second method in which you can get coherent light from a single source, that method is known as division of amplitude. So basically interference in case of thin films. whether the thin film is of uniform thickness or non-uniform thickness. When you will see the interference pattern in those thin films, so basically that interference pattern is obtained by the division of amplitude of light. So amplitude of a single ray, that will be divided into multiple rays, reflected, transmitted rays. Since all those rays, they will be generated from same ray or same source, so all those rays will be coherent in nature. So that is the method to get coherent light by the division of amplitude of light. Newton's ring experiment, that is a very famous popular experiment related to division of amplitude of light. In Michelson-Morley experiment, which is actually a very famous experiment of relativistic mechanics, in that experiment we will get interference pattern due to division of amplitude. So those are the two methods to get coherent light or coherent sources from a single source. I have already discussed about the first type of coherence, which is known as temporal coherence or coherence in time. Actually, this temporal coherence, it is related to monochromatic behavior of the source. So, as I have already mentioned in my previous lecture, that more the monochromaticity of the source means smaller the bandwidth or that frequency spread, greater will be the temporal coherence. Means if the wavelength spread is very, very small for a particular source, then for a very long time, we can maintain coherence nature. We can maintain that temporal coherence. So this first type of coherence, that is actually related to time. And this is coherence this is also known as coherence in time. And when we will describe this temporal coherence, then actually we are taking 2 points in a plane which is parallel to direction of propagation. So you can imagine it like this. Suppose you have a light source, and from that light source you are getting light radiations. So when these light radiations are propagating along a certain direction, like this is the direction of propagation of light. Now along this direction of propagation, we are taking 2 points A and B. Now what we are going to do? We are going to find the that phase difference between those 2 points at 2 different times. So what you have to do? You have to find the phase difference at time t, and let that phase difference at time t is phi b minus phi a. So this is phase difference between A and B at 2 different points. And you have to remember that we have taken that A and B in a plane parallel to direction of propagation. And then we will find that phase difference at a different time, and let that time is t dash. This was phase difference at time t. At time t dash, if phase difference is phi b dash minus phi a dash, if these two phase differences, if delta phi is exactly equal to delta phi dash, means this phase difference is same irrespective of time, means that time is not changing the phase difference. Then you will say there is temporal coherence between A and B. So I hope the meaning of temporal coherence is clear. So in temporal coherence, you have a light source, you are getting light rays, those light rays are propagating along a certain direction. In that direction, you have 2 points. Then you will find the phase difference between those 2 points at 2 different times. If that phase difference is not changing with time, then you will say there is temporal coherence between those 2 points. If you have an ideal coherent source, then that ideal coherent source that can maintain this temporal coherence for infinitely long time means that phase difference will be constant for infinitely long time. And but practically you will not get this coherence time infinite. For real sources, this coherence time is having a finite value. So we have already seen this temporal coherence in our previous lecture. The topic for today's discussion is actually related to spatial coherence. Today I will discuss about that spatial coherence, which is actually the coherence in space. All these results are related to temporal coherence. So as I have already mentioned, that temporal coherence is actually related to bandwidth or frequency spread. Smaller the value of delta nu means smaller the bandwidth, greater will be the coherence time. Smaller the value of delta lambda, greater will be coherence time, and accordingly coherence length. So these results are applicable for temporal coherence. But today we will discuss about spatial coherence. So now we will try to see that what is the meaning of spatial coherence. So when I'm saying spatial coherence, then I'm referring to the coherence in space. So in order to understand that spatial coherence, we can take the help of this Young's double slit experiment. As you can see, this particular setup is for Young's double slit experiment. So you have a light source here, and that light source is illuminating this particular slit. So you have the single slit which is illuminated by a monochromatic light source. Then you can see there are two slits, S1 and S2. Now these two slits, they are illuminated by this single slit or that single monochromatic light source. Since these two slits, they are illuminated with the help of a single source, so these two slits, they are coherent. These two slits will act as two coherent sources. Why I'm saying that these two slits will act as coherent sources? Because these two slits, they are obtained because of division of wavefront of light. Means there will be division of wavefront of light, and then S1 and S2 are illuminated. If there is any change in the phase of that slit S, you will get the similar changes for S1 and S2. That is the reason you can maintain a fixed phase relationship between S1 and S2. So these two rays, these two sources, these two slits are coherent in nature. You can maintain that fixed phase relationship. Now the question arises, up to which distance you can maintain that perfect phase relationship? In case of temporal coherence, we have seen the coherence along direction of propagation. But in case of spatial coherence, we will see that coherence in a direction perpendicular to direction of propagation. You can understand it like this. Again, we have a light source. Again, from that light source, you are getting light radiations. Suppose this is direction of propagation of light. So along direction of propagation of light, now we are taking a plane. So you have this particular plane, and that plane is in a direction perpendicular to direction of propagation. This is direction of propagation. Now perpendicular to that plane, we are taking 2 points. So now we have those 2 points A and B in this particular plane. Now you have to see whether there is coherence between these 2 points in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation, whether there is whether the light which is obtained at those 2 points is coherent or incoherent. So basically you can understand it like this. There is a maximum distance, there is a maximum separation between A and B up to which you can get that perfect phase relationship. So if you are choosing those 2 points A and B within that limit, then there will be spatial coherence between A and B. You can understand it like this. Suppose from the light source you are getting light radiations, and those light radiations they will get incident over this particular plane. Suppose 10 centimeter is that particular distance in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation up to which you have perfect phase relationship. So if A and B, these 2 points, they are present within 10 centimeter, then there is perfect phase relationship between A and B. But if the distance between A and B is beyond 10 centimeter, then you cannot get that perfect phase relationship or spatial coherence between A and B. So what I'm trying to say here, this spatial coherence is actually the coherence in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation. We have defined our temporal coherence in terms of time, whereas we will define the spatial coherence in terms of distance in space. That spatial coherence is defined in terms of distance. That was defined in terms of time, but this will be defined in terms of distance between the 2 points in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation. So you can see here, this is our screen over which we are getting the interference pattern from the light rays emitted from S1 and S2. Now we have to see up to which distance you can maintain that perfect phase relationship. So that maximum distance up to which we can maintain perfect phase relationship in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation, that maximum distance, that maximum separation is actually known as spatial coherence. So that is the meaning of spatial coherence. So spatial coherence is a measure of correlation of light wave phase at different points transverse to direction of propagation. So as I have already mentioned that you have a light source, from that light source you are getting light radiations. Now you are having a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation. In that plane you have 2 points. Now you have to see the phase relationship between those 2 points. If the phase relationship between those 2 points which are in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation is not changing with time, then you will say there is spatial coherence between those points. It is type of a correlation depending upon position. So basically we will define the spatial coherence in terms of distance, in terms of position, in terms of space, or you can say this is coherence in space. It is measure of correlation of phase of light wave at different points transverse to direction of propagation. The spatial coherence has explained the finite size of light source. Basically, temporal coherence that is related to monochromatic behavior of light, whereas the spatial coherence that is actually related to size of the source. So at the end of this discussion, you will see that smaller the size of source means if the light source will be a point source, then that spatial coherence length that will be larger. Means that spatial coherence its degree of coherence will be higher if you are having a point source or if the size of that source is very, very small. So temporal coherence is actually related to monochromatic behavior, whereas the spatial coherence is related to size of the source, or if the source is a point source, then the spatial coherence is having a very, very high value, or that spatial coherence length will be higher. The phase difference of the wave crossing the 2 points lying on a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation of light is time dependent. So as I've already explained that if you have 2 points A and B, so as you can see, we have taken 2 points here. One is P and other one is P dash. So these are the light rays coming from a particular source. If the phase difference between this P and P dash, if that phase difference is same at 2 different times, let at time t, delta phi is the phase difference. And then we will find that that phase difference at time t dash. And if that phase difference is delta phi dash, so if delta phi is exactly equal to delta phi dash, then you will say there is spatial coherence between P and P dash. You can see the difference between temporal and spatial coherence. In temporal coherence, this P and P dash, these 2 points were in a plane parallel to direction of propagation. But in this particular case, P and P dash, these 2 points are in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation, right? So that is the meaning of spatial coherence. So in spatial coherence, actually we are defining the phase relationship between 2 points in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation. So if the phase difference between 2 points which are in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation is independent of time, then you will say there is spatial coherence between those points. So this is the meaning of spatial coherence. We will define the spatial coherence in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation, whereas temporal coherence that is defined in a plane parallel to direction of propagation. So now we will try to derive a relationship for that spatial coherence length, right? So in order to understand this spatial coherence length, again we have taken the example of Young's double slit experiment. As you can see here, this is the light source, that particular monochromatic light source, which is illuminating a single slit. So let the width of that single slit, width of that particular source is small d. So that small d is defining the width of the source, width of the slit, or that size of the source, dimensions of the source. Now you have these 2 points in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation. So you can easily correlate this particular diagram with Young's double slit experiment. So you can see like this, you have a single slit of this particular bit D, which is illuminating these 2 points, or light is received by these 2 points, and you can easily understand that these 2 points, let first point is A and the second one is B. So these 2 points, they are in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation. Now we have to see that what is the maximum separation between A and B up to which we can get perfect phase relationship. So in order to get that spatial coherence length, we have to use the theory of diffraction. So you all know, according to theory of diffraction, this d sine theta is equal to lambda. Basically, this is representing the condition of minima. In case of a single slit, the maximum intensity of light that will be concentrated over this principal maxima. So over this principal maxima, maximum energy, maximum light will be concentrated. And that particular condition of that particular breadth of maxima is given by this particular relationship, d sine theta equals to lambda. So from here, you can see sine theta is equal to lambda by d. Since theta is very small, and for small value of theta, this sine theta is approximately theta. So we can write here this theta is equal to lambda by d. So you have one expression for that theta as lambda by d. So this is your one expression, right? And geometrically you can see that this A, B and C, that is equal to, let this point is A. So I'm writing this as A, C, B. This is A, this particular point is C and this one is B. So geometrically, if you will see this ACB, but that angle can be written as arc upon radius. So this will be Y. If it is Y and this distance is D, this particular distance is D, you can also write this angle is equal to Y upon D. So now you can see if this Y upon D, if it is less than or equal to this lambda by d, then you will have perfect phase relationship. Suppose this is maximum spread up to which you have perfect phase relationship, and that maximum spread is actually lambda by d. And from this particular source, when you will see the spread of light, then that is Y upon d. So you can easily understand that there will be perfect phase relationship if Y upon d is either less or equal to lambda by d. So from here, if you will simplify it, you can see Y is less than or equal to lambda d upon d. Means either the value of Y that should be less or equal to lambda d upon d, only then you will get perfect phase relationship. So if you will see it carefully, you can understand that maximum value of Y up to which we can get perfect phase relationship, that is lambda d upon small d. So this is maximum separation up to which you can get perfect phase relationship. So this is the maximum distance between A and B, which are points in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation, along which you are getting perfect phase relationship. So Y is equal to lambda d upon d. This is maximum separation. If Y is less than this, you have perfect phase relationship. But if Y is greater than that, you cannot get perfect phase relationship. So there is no coherence between the points if Y is greater than lambda d upon d. So the maximum distance up to which you can have that perfect phase relationship, that is lambda d upon d. So this particular distance, this maximum separation is known as spatial coherence length. So you can see here from this final expression that spatial coherence length is equal to lambda d upon d. So there is one more way to understand it. You have this single slit of width d, which is illuminating these two slits. Now these two slits, you can assume that these two slits are actually those 2 points A and B. From this particular slit, if this distance of the slits, these 2 points S1 and S2 is capital D, so you can see the maximum spread of this particular slit, that will be equal to, that will be D sine theta equals to lambda, means that maximum spread will be lambda by D. So this is for the single slit. And if you will find this particular angle, and let this point is A, this one is C, and this is B, then this angle will be equal to this arc upon radius. So this will be, if it is y, then y upon d. So if y upon d is less than or equal to lambda by d, then you will have a perfect phase relationship. And the maximum distance up to which you can get that maximum distance is y equal to lambda d upon small d. So this is the relationship for spatial coherence length. Now you can see here this d, that is actually the width of this slit, or you can say this particular d is actually the size of source. You can see from this particular relationship that smaller the value of d, you can see here, if the light source is fixed, then the wavelength is fixed. If the distance between the light source and that particular plane in which you want to get that phase relationship, if that distance is also fixed, means this lambda is constant, capital D is constant, then this coherence length is actually a function of D. So if D is approaching to 0, when I'm saying D is approaching to 0, means the light source that is having a very small size, if it is approaching towards the size of a point source. So if you have a point source, then this D is approaching to 0. So when D is approaching to 0, this Y max, that will approach to infinite. Means smaller the value of D, greater will be the coherence length, spatial coherence length. Means if you have a point source, then the distance between the 2 points between which you can maintain perfect phase relationship, that distance will approach to infinite, means that distance will be very, very long if you have a point source. So we can conclude it like this. In case of spatial coherence, that behavior, that nature, that spatial coherence is actually related to size of the source. Whereas in the previous lecture we have seen that temporal coherence, that is related to monochromatic behavior. This is the result for temporal coherence, where we have explained that smaller the value of delta nu. When I'm saying smaller the value of delta nu, means that bandwidth is very small. The source is very much monochromatic lights, monochromatic source. So if greater the monochromaticity of the source, greater will be temporal coherence length. Means that temporal coherence, that particular characteristic, that behavior is related to monochromaticity of the source, whereas spatial coherence length, that is related to this D. So smaller the value of D, greater will be spatial coherence length. So finally, I would like to conclude it like this. When we are saying coherence, then we are actually referring to the perfect phase relationship between 2 points. This coherence is of 2 types. One is known as temporal coherence and the other one is known as spatial coherence. When I'm saying temporal coherence, then actually I'm referring to the coherence in a plane parallel to direction of propagation. When I'm saying spatial coherence, then actually I'm referring the coherence in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation. So that is a major difference. In temporal, we have points in a plane parallel to direction of propagation. In case of spatial, we have coherence in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation. The second difference is that temporal coherence is related to time, whereas spatial coherence is related to distance. So that is the second major difference. The third difference is temporal coherence, that is related to monochromatic behavior of the source. More the monochromaticity of the source, greater will be the temporal coherence length as well as coherence time. Whereas in case of spatial coherence, that particular coherence is related to the dimensions of the source. means smaller the size of source, means if you have a point source, then that spatial coherence extent up to which you can maintain perfect phase relationship, or that coherence length will have a higher value. So these are the differences between temporal and spatial coherence. So if you have an ideal source, then that can maintain a perfect phase relationship for infinitely long time in a plane parallel to direction of propagation. And for that ideal source in a direction in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation for a very, very long time, you can for a very, very long distance, you can maintain perfect phase relationship. So these are the two aspects, these are the two ways to understand this coherence. So coherence not only means phase relationship, that phase relationship is actually defined in a plane parallel to direction of propagation as well as in a plane perpendicular to direction of propagation. So these are some reference books which you can use for this particular topic of coherence. So you can follow these books, and that's all for today. Thank you very much.